The Yawalapichi live in central Brazil, south of the Amazon rainforest. Today, they are celebrating the beginning of the Peki festival, which honors their fruit trees and hummingbird spirits. It's also the last event in their seasonal calendar of rituals. Colorful dances and games bring cheer to the hardest time of the year. For tribes of the Amazon basin, the rainy season is a continuous one, lasting for half the year. But on this occasion, the Peki festival threatens to be very different. Unknown to the villagers, the village shaman has predicted a lunar eclipse. For a deeply superstitious community who fear the forces of the supernatural, an eclipse would bring powerful, possibly malicious spirits into their village. For the moment, the chief, his leaders, and the community are unaware of events about to unfold. Xingu National Park lies in the heart of Brazil and south of the Amazon rainforest. In 1961, it became South America's first indigenous park and an ecological haven belonging to the tribes of the Xingu region. The park is a realm of rivers and headwaters, which flow into the river Xingu. The river Xingu itself joins the mighty Amazon 1,000 miles to the north. For the communities of Xingu, the rivers and lagoons are the lifeblood of their culture. One of these Xingu peoples is the Yawalapichi. Today, the villagers of Yawalapichi are celebrating the Peki festival, unaware of any problems that may lie ahead. The festive games are called Alukaka, which will test the men's prowess and strength. Before the women and children join in the game, the men follow a ceremonial approach to the courtyard in front of the men's hut. This is the most important space in the village because it's the place where their ancestors are buried. The men have oiled up their bodies in preparation for an assault by the women, and it's Chief Eritana who calls the women to the men's hut. The men can only silently await the frenzy. Women love the Alukaka games. It's one of the few times of year when control swings noticeably in their favor. At the front is Chumin, the wrestling champion, and the line stretches back to the youngest and weakest. The rules of the game are straightforward. The women must break the line and tear the young warriors off, one man at a time. Eventually, the only man left is the wrestling champion. The game ends when the women tear him away from the pole. The games continue throughout the day, bringing a festive atmosphere to the normally hard-working community. Around 200 people live in the village at any one time. Cultural events, such as the Peki festival, bring the community together. Everyone takes great pride to wear their traditional clothes and adornments. As the day progresses, the games become increasingly boisterous. The next game to be played is unashamedly sexual and great fun. It's a game where genders are reversed. The women pretend to be men, who gang together to answer the taunts of their opposites. Pretending to be women, the men are pounced on by the other sex. After the day's revelry, the village women go off to the river to bathe. Women bathe separately to the men, except when with their husbands or close family. Now that the games are over, the village has quietened down. But an unexpected event has brought the Yawalapichi leaders to the men's hut. Chief Aritana has been informed by the shaman that tonight there'll be a lunar eclipse. For Shingu peoples, an eclipse is a sacred event. If it does indeed take place, this will mean postponing the Peki festival. The news will dramatically transform events in the village.
Noi quattro candidati, iruka awapuka video. Keri, kau kajunupi, kajunupa keri jumuka mapuka pai wanukari. Itapuka azo awaku lukuka. Aju mahuti chupuluka, aju mahuti chup. Da aputuka pulita luka.
One of the first rituals performed during a lunar eclipse involves the young men. They will be whipped as the Earth's shadow passes over the moon. After the meeting, the men head for a small river on the other side of the village to bathe. Before the leaders inform the young men that they will later be whipped, they must be sure that the eclipse really will take place. Traditionally, it's the shaman who predicts an eclipse, and a shaman has more than one way of knowing.
Isiruka iyutapuka. Pamahinala itsemuka. Pa uchika itsemu punyemuka. Paka uchinayata. Katupapuka itisi nyanya.
There is another way that a shaman knows of a forthcoming eclipse. Animal behavior is affected by the moon. Though an untrained ear might not notice these subtleties, it's the skill of a medicine man to be aware of these natural signs. The name of the village shaman who predicted the eclipse is Aira. He fears the eclipse. The moon is a powerful creation spirit that will menstruate and even drip blood on the earth.
Maititaya konepa, oyamavita kumaitaya konepa. Oh, kinikatuiteni penawa. Kinikatuiteni penawa, wan. Yameko. Tiene katuiteni penawa na areko uri ko chagani pa obuku korina ewa piyemo ko iki kura ewa yameko piyemo ko iki kura ewa.
If an eclipse does indeed take place tonight, the Yawalapichi believe that supernatural spirits will descend on their village. The spirits might bring illness, even death.
Tiene katuitena ewa oyama aitarako. Era mueo koi pañe mera ko ut. O uhuau meka. O uhuau meka.
Shortly before midnight, the eclipse begins. Chief Aritana has already called the young men to the men's hut for the rituals to begin. It's important that the tribesmen remain festive and good-natured. If they don't, then the spirits might punish them. An eclipse is seen as a time of renewal and an awakening. As part of this awakening, they begin beating young men in front of the invisible spirits. The spirits are not offended by laughter or jokes, only if they're forgotten or ignored. The whipping is considered to make the young warriors more courageous. They rid themselves of old fears by running off into the dark. The eclipse has brought supernatural spirits into the village. The Yawala Pichi respond by playing their most sacred instrument, the Jakui pipes. It's taboo for women to look at these flutes, or even for them to be filmed. Throughout the night, their haunting sounds echo across the village from the men's hut. It's the first morning after the eclipse, and the cycle of ceremonies continues. A group of musicians awaken the village with their flutes. This is called the takwara ceremony, where the flutes must pass from house to house throughout the whole morning. Inside the long houses, young women are being painted up to join the procession. Both mother and daughter want to please the spirits of the eclipse and show them the effort they've made to enchant them. The flute procession continues along the ring of houses, heralding the day of the dances ahead. Grass fibers are tied in a girdle around the girl's waist. A short reed provides the final detail. It's alluring, and it shows off her feminine beauty. As the flute procession grows, the musicians pick up the adorned women as they move from one house to the next. The women of the takwara stand with their backs to the flutes. They're not supposed to look at the musicians till they join them. The next dance in the cycle of ceremonies is the Tapanawarana. As with all the dances, it's being held to demonstrate to the eclipse spirits that they've not been forgotten. This is, in fact, a rehearsal, since the Yawala Pichi practice all their dances, often for many days at a time. By late afternoon, it's in full swing. The drummer and singer keep time, which the dancers follow with their steps. If the rhythm speeds up, the dancers respond by speeding up as well. The women hold on to the men to keep time. So long as they know the moves of the dances, any woman can dance with any man. The whole dance tells a mythical story about spirits of the water world. The movements of the dance, especially the swinging of arms, symbolize fish swimming in water. As the dance continues in the center of the village, Chief Aritana watches eagerly. Close by is the shaman Aira, ever watchful. Aritana is pleased that the day's dances have gone well. By honoring the traditions, it means that the supernatural spirits will protect his people. Dawn, on the second day after the eclipse. Two elders, Hinako and Uelupe, have gone spearfishing. The older men of the tribe still practice this traditional method of fishing, though nets and fishing lines are now common in the Xingu. But spearfishing is highly valued and highly effective. The arrows used for spearfishing have two prongs, giving the fisherman a better chance of hitting the slippery fish than a single point. The hunter must not only be able to spot the fish through the water's glare, but aim through the surface, which distorts the true position of the fish. Hinako makes a strike. The arrow stays in the fish, allowing him to retrieve it. It's a perfect shot, but if he doesn't make sure the fish is dead, it might wriggle out of the canoe. The elders continue stalking the fish throughout the morning. Yawalapichi fishermen know their environment intimately, especially where the fish hide at different times of day and in different seasons. With their catch of the morning, the fishermen can return to the village, knowing that there's food in the men's hut for the rest of today's ceremonies. In the center of the village, Chumin, the champion wrestler, waits by the men's hut for the other young men to join him. They've arranged to practice hookah wrestling in preparation for a contest that will take place during the next eclipse ceremony. The young men are nervous. Wrestling matches are lively events where their skills will be on show for everyone to see. Training takes place on the sacred ground in front of the men's hut. Wrestling in the Xingu is known as hookah, after the taunting sounds the opponents make. These mimic the roar of a jaguar and are intended to frighten and intimidate. Winning is straightforward. Either grab both your opponent's legs or throw him on his back. Each match usually has 2 or 3 rounds and lasts from a few seconds to a quarter of an hour. The length depends on what happens between the players, and every game is different. Every tribe wants a champion. Famous wrestlers are talked about for many years after their death.
Oye mamu amawa tori wa mwe ko tori wa mwe. Oye mamu amawa ivi ko. Oye mamu awa ivi. Na reo ko oye mamu awa ivi. O kuyawa no kivi ko pu. Pe sakatuka ya ewa nyamawa ko. Sakatuka ya ewa. A ea yendere tukinawa. A ea miari yendere henawa nyamawa.
Although hooka wrestling is still popular with the Xingu tribes, the young men have discovered new sports such as football. Breaking away from tradition, women have also begun to wrestle, often to the amusement of the men. Today, there's even talk that the women might hold their own contest for the next eclipse ceremony. The villagers are also preparing for the next eclipse ritual, an exchange ceremony. In the heat of the day, the long houses are the coolest place to be. They're made from wood and grass thatch and are larger than a passenger jet. Up to 40 people live in each one of these huts. Entire families of several generations all share the same space. The exchange ceremony and the wrestling match, however, now look increasingly unlikely to take place today. A storm is heading directly for the village. The village leaders try to drive away the thunderclouds with a spell. Aritana can only watch in vain as the day's activities are forced to a sudden standstill. Far in the distance, the champion wrestler Chumin tries to brave the oncoming storm. Two days have now passed since the Peki festival was first announced. The once festive mood in the village has noticeably changed. No one in the community can recall when a lunar eclipse coincided with a Peki festival. And now their best efforts to complete the cycle of ceremonies have come to a damp end. The next morning brings with it the first signs of discontent. Some villagers are complaining about headaches. Worse still, old rumors of sorcery have resurfaced. Chief Aritana is aware that problems are mounting, and it's his job to retain harmony in the village. Among Xingu Indians, even powerful chiefs have to respect the opinions of the village leaders and the community at large. Aritana has acquired a great reputation for his qualities as a leader.
Pura irika kaniri jaya katwali iri awawiri kaniri iri ata ama makapa wano kakat itapu tsare kaniri awukui mute ataje azo ikunu taje azo.
Daily life for the Xingu peoples includes the presence of ancestral spirits and supernatural forces. But the added presence of gossip and rumor make it no easy task being chief. In times of trouble, Aritana looks to his own guiding spirits.
Yatama punya muka, pakaka punya putacha punya yatama ka. Iruka yatama, kapapa putala pukaira yatama. Ili puka nata papa tala apa paluta puka ili puka.
One of the young men in the village has suffered a resurgence of nightmares and is blaming the presence of a bad spirit. Tatao is the chief's nephew, and he's decided to perform a painful bloodletting ceremony. The scratching implement is made from sharp fish teeth. The teeth score the skin rather than cutting it, though blood is still drawn. Scratching is a healing ritual and is often only applied to their arms and feet. Today, Tatao has chosen to have his entire body scratched. Tatao's wife, Irika, has also chosen to perform the healing rite. It's exactly the same for women. They also endure the scratching with no show of pain or suffering. The chief has made his announcement. The exchange ceremony and the wrestling contest will now go ahead. Some Xingu communities call the exchange ceremony Moitara, but in Yabalapichi, the exchange ceremony is known as Utluxi. Because it's only a demonstration ritual to please the eclipse spirits, one half of the village is pretending to be a neighboring tribe who have come to trade. Traditionally, exchange ceremonies are a chance for neighboring communities to formally meet, gather news, and resolve any unsettled disputes. When Xingu tribes meet to exchange and barter their crafts, the event is followed by a wrestling contest. The young men get a rare opportunity to demonstrate their wrestling skills. The biggest hookah contests are in fact held during a funeral ritual called a kuarup. But today, the eclipse ceremonies provide an unexpected chance to practice their tribal sport. As the wrestling contest develops, the atmosphere among the young men becomes infectious, until the more formal duels erupt into a boisterous frenzy. The excitement is not yet over. Before the day is done, the women will also hold their own wrestling contest. Takan, the organizer of the women's wrestling, is first into the ring. The women use the same moves and the same skills as the male wrestlers. There are no special rules just because they're women. Irika, from the same household as Takan and Anna, now enters. Although shy, she's got a reputation for being a formidable wrestler.
So dan like apici ko ikinundato ojo kovel. Le pegue le ti akisi ti kinundato. Ti enai bukyo lu ti nyale ti kinumbole ti go tu patanye polule. Enai bukyo lu ti nyale ti go tu pay pole. La ti nyale bukilo ti tinye go. Ti go tu bukilo ti.
The next morning, life returns to its normal pace. But there's still an atmosphere of excitement in the air, since the women are again planning a special ceremony. This time, they'll perform a Yamari Kuma. It will be the last eclipse ceremony. First, manioc needs to be harvested. This important vegetable is central to the survival of the community. The manioc grows in large plantations on the outskirts of the village. The plants quickly grow into tall bushes, but it's the roots they're after. Among Xingu Indians, producing manioc bread is strictly a woman's role.
Ya iwi ore momu atame ko menyoronu ikami awar motsu je pram nere kami engite neram ne menyu hera uwa ko nitram ne kami hera utawa ko ha vitara are uruwa kura.
Because of their skills in transforming vegetables into bread, women are at the heart of the community's daily survival. If no one brings fish back from the river, at least there'll be bread on the plate. Making that bread is a skillful task. The women make it look easy, but it's only because they've been doing it since childhood. The first stage of bread making is to scrape the tough outer skin of the manioc. Then the vegetable has to be squashed to a pulp and sieved. The vegetable pulp is then washed to drain the natural toxins that would otherwise make a person ill. This in turn is squeezed several times till it's purified. The sticky dough is then left in the sun to dry. Dried manioc flour is called beju, which is cooked on a wide clay plate over the fire. The gluten in the beju is sticky enough to hold the bread in one piece. Later in the day, the women prepare for the Yamari Kuma. The Yamari Kuma is a special ceremony performed by women in all the Xingu communities. During the dance, they'll look their most beautiful, and it will take many hours for the women to prepare the adornments. The patterns have no specific meaning, except that they follow geometric designs traditional to the Xingu region. Each woman is painted according to the expression of the painter, which will always be another woman. Solidarity is strong between the women, united by one overriding fact of life: hard work.
Iene kuyaram ikatu ako. Neya potat kunyaram jire kota. Ata ya ip. Maare kunyaram na pot jiu para na potarite. Aku ma emena ya iwa pu ya de koram. Arame kunyaram na ko potarite rak.
The women usually marry around the age of 16, traditionally to a man chosen by their family. But times are changing. Takan divorced her chosen husband against her parents' wishes and later remarried.
Asa togallaha papa no tukawe niat be nupe asa tuka kananu na tulai sa kana to pirin sa asa nahunanu ma ne kallaha asa to ne we shuwi kunya mata be piri asa kallaha asa akapin sa ba amunuja asa we ke tuk papai nyama to tambiri.
At the end of the afternoon, the Yamari Kuma begins. It's a ceremony usually reserved for welcoming only the most important visitors. But today, they're dancing for the eclipse spirits. During Yamari Kumas, women are allowed to don the headdresses usually worn by men. The dazzling colors of the headdresses come from birds such as toucan, from which the name of the whole tribe Yawalapichi derives. The Yamari Kuma continues for many hours and eventually comes to an end at dusk. The eclipse ceremonies are over. That night, something unexpected unfolds in the village. Just when they thought their problems were over, there is talk of sorcery. Shortly before nightfall, an incident took place. A woman called Kerry fell into a delirious trance and ran over to the shaman's house, accusing him of witchcraft. Four days earlier, the shaman predicted that something bad would happen. But not even Ayura could have guessed that it would happen to him. Since nightfall, the shaman's house has stood empty. He's fled Yawalapichi in fear of his life. Though it's only an accusation, Xingu Indians in the past have been known to kill sorcerers, and his family persuaded him to leave for his own safety. Meanwhile, Kere's family have sent a canoe upriver to fetch a famous shaman who they believe can break the spell. Inside the long houses, the villagers are divided on whether Ayura is indeed to blame. Either way, Xingu Indians fear supernatural spirits, but even more, they fear sorcerers. Before dawn, the renowned shaman has already arrived and begun the healing ceremony. First, he inhales smoke, which is considered sacred. There's no narcotic in the cigar, and the trance is self-induced. Nevertheless, it's the gift of a healer to be able to quickly slip into another state of consciousness. The healing ritual is by nature intense. The medicine man is fighting black magic. The shaman has now entered a world that only a medicine man sees and understands. He'll see shapes and objects that tell him what's causing his daughter's illness. A piece of string that he's found nearby suddenly becomes a physical representation of the spell that's strangling Kerry's soul. He cuts through the string, symbolically releasing the spell. Smoke is associated with the spirit world and a constant part of the healing ritual. Kerry now relies on her father to remove the power of the sickness through hands-on contact.
Quindi sa qua che il tio che iera che a qua che il che iera nei conto ho pe ha tui pur nei conto ho pe a qua che il te la macchina e poi ganyo che il tio.
For the rest of the day, the village waits while Kerry recovers. Although the eclipse ceremonies are now over, they won't begin the happy Peki festival if anyone is unwell in the village. Meanwhile, 3 elders have been sent out of the village to talk to the spirits of the Peki trees. Before any festival can continue, the men must perform this traditional rite. They will ask the spirits that protect their Peki trees for more fruit in the year to come. The next morning, with the festival back on the agenda, some of the Yawalapichi men have gone to the swamp. They're cutting wood to make carvings of hummingbirds used in the climax of the Peki festival. Xingu Indians believe the tree to be guarded by spirits that take the form of hummingbirds. The fruit of the Peki tree provides them with oil and is also cooked and eaten or made into a drink called mingao. As soon as they've brought the wood back to the men's hut, the birds begin to take shape. Bird carving is a man's job, and each one of them takes great pride in his handiwork. Once the carvings are ready, it's time to bring the hummingbirds to life with decoration. The Yawalapichi use the juice of a wild fruit called urukum to get the red color. The hummingbirds are ready. They're left in the most sacred space of the village, in front of the men's hut, where the ancestors are buried. There they will stand until it's time for the bird ceremony to begin. Finally, the villagers return to the celebrations of the Peki festival. Even Aritana is pleased. They've decided to continue with the Alukaka Games interrupted 5 days ago by the eclipse. Starting at the far end of the line, the women try to break off one man at a time. They're allowed to pull, grapple, tickle, thump, pry and squeeze. This, of course, can be painful for the men, and for those watching, highly amusing. Soon, the line will be down to one man, Chuman, the champion wrestler. He must resist all the women together.
ya pena go pe. Ipana te pe. Tadon kuya mera normal ngite wa. Ngaptewa ya I ka yene opukuria wa nero ngitram. Jinera ko Amerika wa ara nero ngitram.
Kate tapi gana tapi lu kau kena tu pilihlah kau sih kau milih kan milih tu cai ke.
Kuya mera ifana ta kwa. Kuya mera ifana ta. Kuya mera ko. Pa ole ifana ta kuya mera.
The Alukaka Games are now over. They began 5 days ago, before the eclipse interrupted the festive occasion and brought great change to the village. Tomorrow, life in the village will return to normal, and they'll remove the elaborate decorations worn at the ceremonies. But there is one final dance to be performed, and for this, the men go to special effort to paint their bodies. The decorations range from butterflies to imaginary beings.
Kaino pa avirio. Luka avirio kali. Asumwa pu lukari. Iruka kaniri. Akaka isumwari iripu. Pauka azuri he wazumwa to ke tapo. Makakuji akakata. Makakuji akakamapali. Makakuji akawakati kamapali.
The dance of the Pecky Birds is the grand finale of the festival. Inside the long houses, the women wait to join the procession. Each longhouse receives a procession which moves from house to house throughout the afternoon.
Zumuali manasa awami poyo takinat kayo no pa katakan diri iri ajumaho ti jo tikutakina kata yatama ka itapa kata azut iri ka kandiri yatama kayo no pa kata yatama no mache tisanuka yatama tawakata kayo no pi malwa pa magaw ka zumuali wakaru pa magaw kari zumuali wakapukari nyirukari yo no papa tapo pukari aso ihe petua pukari ka itse pukaira.
Visible to all on the tall poles are the sacred hummingbirds. The Yawalapichi believe that they are carrying the hummingbird spirits around the village. The ceremony comes to an end where it began, next to the men's hut, the most sacred place for the Yawalapichi.
Azuka ali Yawalapiti ka azupo. Yawalapiti nyeri tibulu kali azupo. Nyeru kali iruka warata pukali azumua. Ata wati kutawa wuhuputse pari azumua ajiriu makatwari akaniri iri ajanya wosinyao uta iri paha video tizana apuja kanao makatari atahapu pari a video tizana pura patari pahapa wakaya tapari iri azumwa.
The elders take the hummingbird carvings, which they believe still contain the living spirits, away from the village. Once they reach the Pecky tree groves, they will rest them against the trees and return home. Hopefully, the spirits will be satisfied by their ceremonies and rituals, and will bring them a bountiful harvest in the year to come.